is James from Cinemassacre, and right now I'm really busy working on the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. But in the meantime, right here, I'm at Game Trailers, and I'm going to be talking about some games that I remember from my youth. Some pretty well-known ones, but I'm going to be going without a script right now, so I'm probably going to suck really bad, but let's go and see what happens. Sonic the Hedgehog. You see, that was the game that sort of lured me over to the Sega Genesis. You see, back then, there was a lot of arguing over what was better, Nintendo or Sega, and as if you had to own one or the other. Because, unless your parents were rich, you kind of did. You had to pick a side, So I was more of a Nintendo guy, and then Super Nintendo came along, so that was obviously the next logical step. And my next door neighbors had a Sega Genesis, so I kind of had best of both worlds. I got to go over their house to play Sega Genesis, and whenever I did, majority of the time they were playing sports games. So lots of sports games on Sega Genesis, and I wasn't really into them as much. See, I was more of a nerd, and they were more of the jocks. So you had the Nintendo household and the Sega household. And then one day I went over there, and they had this game called Sonic the Hedgehog. And it, wow, blew my mind. At first I thought it sounded kind of stupid, but then played it, and it was a side-scroller, and the first thing that struck me about it was how colorful it was. It had just a great palette of colors, just blue skies and green hills, and even the hills seemed to have all kinds of plant life. And then you hit that thing at the end of the level, and all the animals come out, and it's just, really dazzling to the eyes. But the biggest thing about it was the speed. I'd never seen anything so fast like that. Like, this is basically my reaction was just... So Sonic rolls into a ball, he's going around loops, next thing he's hitting a spring and he's bouncing in the opposite direction, and it's just madness. Sega called this blast processing in the commercials, and whether it was a marketing gimmick or not, it was really just, the game had the fastest speed I'd seen yet. Besides that annoying stage in Battletoads. There's also this really cool configuration code, and when you do that, you can basically just add all kinds of game sprites all over the stage, and then you can basically it's kind of like creating a custom stage, sort of like an Excite Bike when you create your own track. That was really cool doing that, but it caused a lot of glitches. Then came Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I love that game. It's probably my favorite Sega Genesis game. And it actually was the game that single-handedly made me get a Sega Genesis. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is good for all the reasons that the first one is, but just all improved on. The music is great. The biggest difference is the inclusion of the character Tails. Now, Tails is Sonic's sidekick, and he can never seem to catch up. Sonic always seems to outrun him, and then Tails comes like helicoptering in after him. Yeah, Tails sucked. I don't know. The second player has the option to take control of Tails, but it was always annoying. Like, I'd always, basically the second player was getting the shitty end of the deal. So I'd play it with my sister a lot of times, and I'd be like, here, you play Tails. Because if you play as Tails, you might as well just be watching at that point. There is a two-player mode where you can both play simultaneously, but it's a split screen. It's alright, but I think the game is best enjoyed when it's a full screen. There is a bonus stage where you can both play on sort of like this half pipe, and it's like in 3D, and I remember thinking that was really cool when I saw that as a kid. Wow, it's in 3D. My favorite stage was the casino. That was awesome because there was just all these blinking lights. It was just like sensory overload. So Sonic is bouncing all over the place. Then there's those like stacks or ring things. You go through them, ding, 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 and that I thought was so cool. There was the flippers, and it's just like a pinball game. And I remember thinking they should make a Sonic pinball game. And what do you know? It happened. Sonic Spinball. Then there was Sonic 3, and I remember I found the underwater stages so annoying because it's like you're always underwater and then the music starts accelerating and it gets faster and faster and it's just like driving you insane. Like I want that music to stop, and then Sonic drowns and it's pathetic. It's sad. I hate seeing him drown. Then there was Sonic CD, and that was really cool too. I remember that one being really disorienting. It was like Sonic on crack. You're flying all over the place, but I loved it. It was awesome. And then everybody wants me to review the bad Sonic games, which I think came later because I've never played a bad Sonic game, but people ask me all the time. It's one of my biggest requests. All I can say about Sonic is, it's awesome.